Hey, how's it going? See, about the Tucker Carlson firing that happened yesterday, okay? I mean, it really just, knocked me off my socks, right? I mean, it was just like, whoa, Nelly, I can't believe that this happened, but it happened. The thing I wanted to point out is something else. It's a secondary effect of this firing. Yesterday, I did a video about it, and I said that, the mainstream narrative is going to be a lot more repressive, and they're going to tighten the screws insofar as information that goes against the narrative, right? Well, today I want to talk about something else that, with the loss of Tucker Carlson, see, a lot of people that you would have never heard of have lost a platform. Because remember what Tucker Carlson did. Tucker Carlson, his show was the reason we saw all that alternate footage of the January 6th riots, quote unquote. His show got that videotape showing, the what's his name, the guy with the horns, with the stupid buffalo hat, whatever his name was, yeah, getting shown around, being all polite to the Capitol Police people when he was like talking in the Senate chambers or whatnot, It's because of Tucker Carlson. It's because of Tucker Carlson that we met Libs of TikTok, who was just showing videos of liberals on YouTube and Twitter, and everybody was freaking out because of how insane all that shit actually was. And she got repressed, and had it not been for Tucker Carlson, she would have been gone. And there are a lot of other alt people who have appeared on Tucker Carlson. Whether you agree with them or not, that's not important. What's important is that in all the other shows on the mainstream media, on the mainstream television media, right? They show the same talking heads. These very polished people, suitably diverse, black, white, Latino, Asian, gay, trans, just everybody nice and shiny and telling you all the same bullshit. Tucker Carlson, his show, gave a space to the actual dissidents in the Western democracies. And because his show is now gone, those people are not going to be able to reach a mainstream audience, even if Tucker Carlson, as I suspect he will, creates his own show on alternative platforms. And so the loss of Tucker Carlson's show is a real disaster for those who are against the narrative, against the regime, those people who want a representative democracy where the leadership class is responsive to the people of those countries. Because as I've said numberless times before, we have this cosmopolitan leadership class in the West. And it is a cosmopolitan leadership class that owes allegiance to each other. Justin Trudeau, Joe Biden and his ilk, Annalena Baerbock, Rishi Sunak, Emmanuel Macron, they are all of a club and they rule over the democracies of the West. They are not representative of the people of the West, which is supposed to be the very core of a representative democracy, for crying out loud, that the leaders represent the people. But the leaders today don't represent the people. They represent each other's interests and the corporate interests that finance them. And Tucker Carlson, now that he's gone from Fox News, he is not going to be able to present people with an alternate view of what's going on in the world. An alternate view that conforms more closely to reality, quite frankly. Because we all know these talking heads that appear in all the other TV shows, including the other shows on Fox. They're full of shit. They're just lying to just shore up the power and prestige of the regime. I think this is dreadfully unfortunate, and I don't see any other way, any other show, any other platform where we will get to see people who have dissident opinions, dissident voices, dissident perspectives that more closely align to reality. Because that's the fundamental problem of the cosmopolitan leadership class. They refuse to accept reality, and when the reality is too overwhelming to ignore, they lie about it. They lie egregiously about it. And I can just point to Nord Stream, the Nord Stream bombing. That for me, that was the key moment when they bombed that pipeline and they just ignored it. And then when Seymour Hersh came out with his piece about it, detailing exactly who did it, who ordered it, how it was carried out, and then a month later, the narrative comes up with some bullshit story that, half a dozen, randos took a pleasure yacht, a sailing yacht, and used it to blow up the Nord Stream pipelines, which is on its face absurd. But yet the mainstream media pushed it along. It was only Tucker Carlson who kept banging that drum about that particular news issue. And he was banging the drum on a lot of other stuff too. Do you realize that the people in prison for the January 6th quote-unquote riot, they're still in prison 2 years later. And these people have never been charged. Habeas corpus, out the fucking window as far as they're concerned. I mean, it's pretty much like a gulag. There's word seeping out that a lot of these people have been quite literally tortured in their American prisons. Look at the issue of Julian Assange. Whatsoever you might think of Julian Assange as a person, as a human being, he doesn't deserve what's happening to him. He didn't commit any crime in the United States. He's not an American citizen. Why is he being held as he is being held? And all the corruption and the lies. None of this stuff comes out except on Tucker Carlson. None of it, let me rephrase that. It does come out. But it comes out in alt media. It comes out with fucking YouTubers like myself. I mean, come on, do I look particularly serious, or even trustworthy for crying out loud? No, But in the trustworthy media, the media where everybody's wearing a suit and tie and looking oh so elegant and polished and shiny and clean, they're all spouting lies. And Tucker Carlson was the only show that presented reality. Presented people who would come on and tell you the truth, tell you the exact data points. This is a secondary effect of the Tucker Carlson firing. And it's a real tragedy. Because a lot of these people, these different dissident people who could have come on Tucker Carlson's show, would have opened the eyes of a lot of regular people in the United States. Remember, Tucker Carlson's show would hit 4, 5, 6 million viewers every night. And now those 4, 5, 6 million people who wanted to be informed are no longer going to have easy access to those dissident voices. I mean, one of the great problems, of course, people always talk about gatekeeping. You know how gatekeeping is so bad? Well, it is bad on the one hand, but on the other hand, it's very good in terms of quality control. See? Because when you have a gatekeeper, and make no mistake, Tucker Carlson was, in a sense, a gatekeeper. But what he was providing was quality control, because the people he would bring on, they had their facts straight. They weren't going to say some loony shit. And they were going to tell you how things actually were. And that is gone now. And so those 4, 5, 6 million people who used to watch Tucker Carlson's show, they're going to have to go through the weeds of alt media and try to figure out who's trustworthy and who's not. A lot of times they'll never even know whom they should be following, because there isn't like an index, there isn't like a yellow pages that you can like flip through and say, oh yeah, this guy, he seems to know what the fuck he's talking about. It's all just weeds in the alt media. And that's, part of its charm, quite frankly. I mean, that's one of the reasons I love alt media and YouTube and Twitter and all that bullshit, right? Because, you're going through garbage most of the time, and then a little gold nugget pops out. It's a lot of fun. But anyway, the point. Tucker Carlson provided that gatekeeping service insofar as bringing forth the people who were on the alt side of the equation, who were more realistic about what was going on, and he checked beforehand to make sure, or his show checked beforehand to make sure, that the people coming on actually knew what they were talking about. And now that service, a vital service, is gone. It's a damn shame, and I don't see on the mainstream media landscape anybody who's going to take his place. It's a damn tragedy. Understand what's going